Hey guys, what is going on? So I wanted to talk about something that I've been experimenting with recently, and that is BPC 157. And so before I get into it, I just want to say I'm not recommending you do this. I don't know that much about this, and it's really something that's kind of hard to find information on. It's not something that is actually labeled for human use, so you're not technically supposed to use it, but people do, and people have tried it, and people have had miraculous results from it. And so this is something that I've never considered. I had seen it mentioned, but I didn't really know what it was. So my first encounter, when I go back in hindsight of this, was watching it might have been a James English or a Sush video or a Lex Little video or something like that, but it was one of those guys, and it was showing James, I think, kind of getting Lex to have this put into his knee, so injecting the BPC into his knee. And I had no idea what it was at the time, and it was supposed to be for the injury in his knee. I know that people are very they're talking about Lex on whether or not he's natural. I think at this point he had already taken testosterone, and at the time I just kind of dismissed it. I didn't have any injuries. I didn't really consider it to be something that was like unnatural, and I just continued to watch the video, right? And I saw another video where I can't remember the guy's name, but he also had this, and when I watched both the videos, I didn't register what it was. Like, obviously BPC 157 doesn't really, it's not super catchy, so I probably went in one ear, out the other. So I heard a couple of people doing this, but it didn't really pertain to me. I didn't really look into it, and I think that's probably the case for a lot of people who maybe watch those videos. That might get brought to their attention, but they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't have an injury, I don't want to inject anything, and so people wouldn't use it. And that was kind of what it was for me too. Then I made the comment, and I made videos talking about my hip and potentially even my shoulder. And one of you guys, I'm not sure who it was, I don't remember what video it was, but somebody had commented that BPC 157 is something that can help improve injuries. And I just did a quick Google search because I'd never heard of it. My assumption was that it was a SARM, because I've heard of other SARMs, or even things that aren't necessarily considered SARMs by the true definition. And I'm like, I don't want to take SARMs just because, something hurts. And I think at the time it didn't really hurt all that bad. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to inject myself. I mean, come on. What? Like, I had never dealt with anything like that. And I just didn't see that as a possibility. So I just quickly dismissed it. And from the time that, I did that, and I made that comment or replied to that comment, I'll try and find it and post it up here. But from that time, my injury had only gotten worse. So this is my hip. For those of you who are not familiar, I woke up one day and my hip started hurting. Now, it didn't limit me from being able to move. I was still able to go for walks. At the time, I was going for walks regularly, and it hurt, but it was not in any way, limiting my ability to do anything. Obviously, I'm not going to do a leg day with a hurt hip, but it was not limiting my mobility really in any way. And pretty much every day since that happened, it just got worse and worse and worse, to the point where I couldn't really even sleep without taking ibuprofen, which, are anti-inflammatories. I had to lay on my back. I couldn't lay on my side anymore. It was really kind of, affecting my life in a lot of ways. It made it really hard to work. I had managers going, what's going on? Why are you hobbling? And this was me on, a bunch of ibuprofen. It kept getting really bad, to the point where I was like, I never even considered going to get it looked at, because I just figured it was a minor thing. It wasn't a serious injury from my understanding, but it was very limiting in my ability to actually do anything, right? So I was like, okay, let me look into this thing. Let me look back into this comment, look at what it is. And I looked into it, and I'm like, yeah, it's something you got to inject. And I learned it wasn't a SARM, it's a peptide. And I was like, okay, but I'm not really sure about doing all this, and it's a research chemical or whatever, and you're not supposed to use it on humans. And I was just like, this seems really shady. And so I kept going back and forth into my head. I'm just like, man, this hurts. So I kept researching it more and more. I realized that you can take it orally, and depending on which company it is, how effective that can be. There are talks about it only being able to be absorbed in your gut, and it's something that's naturally occurring, this peptide. And The reason that I got the oral version, so I got both, but the reason I initially got the oral version was because I was taking all of this ibuprofen and I knew that that wasn't good for, your stomach or whatever. And this is supposed to be able to potentially combat that. And I figured if this could help prevent, stomach issues or whatever negative side effects happen with ibuprofen, which is something that I was basically popping like candy, unfortunately, if it could help in that regard and then could potentially go systemic, which there are a lot of people saying that, it's not going to work on muscles. It's only going to be for the stomach. So I ordered it, and shortly thereafter, I was like, I got to do this. I got to order this. I got to try it. It took a lot of convincing in my own head. It was not something I wanted to do. It kind of seems unnatural, even though it's just amino acids. It's just a peptide. But I started trying it on Friday, right? So I got the shipment. I paid extra for shipping and everything like that. Unfortunately, it didn't get to me as fast as I would have liked. So I got it on Friday. I tried it before work, and literally like the day that I got it, I started to notice a really quick rebound. Up to that point, I was hobbling around. It was not good. And today is Tuesday. So from Friday to Tuesday, it's gotten so much better. Like I don't need ibuprofen at all anymore. Not to sleep, not to walk around. And if I do take ibuprofen, it feels almost 100% better. So from going, it gradually got worse and worse every single day. And I can't say that 100% that this is the reason. But I started to take the oral stuff a day before just because it arrived in the mail a day before. And it literally, like within a day, within 2 days, a lot of recovery happened. And I can't say, I don't know the severity of my injury. I don't know even specifically what it was. I know it was like a hip flexor issue. But it was very, it was limiting my mobility, and it hurt a lot. Like it was not something that was just something that I kind of brushed to the side anymore. It was getting pretty serious, at least in terms of pain. I don't know if it would have healed, starting that day or whatever. I don't know what was going on, but it seems like the rate that it healed, it accelerated, the rate at which it was healing. Even though it's not 100% today, I mean, it's no longer limiting my mobility. It just hurts a little bit. And again, I don't need to take painkillers anymore. And I've only been using it since Friday, and it's Tuesday. So basically, the moral of this is, I'm not the expert on this. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm not going to tell you to do it at all or anything like that. What I will say is that for people who just think it's this taboo to inject yourself and everything like that, and to try something, online, that seems really shady, it's very off-putting. But if you're in a situation where, for me, it was affecting my finances, it was affecting my ability to work, it was affecting my sleep, it was affecting so many things that even though it is pretty expensive, I had to do it. I had to do it. And I don't know if I would have recovered at this rate before. I can't say definitively, but I know if you're somebody who's never heard of it and you're injured, I would just urge you to at least look at what it is, to just inform yourself on what it is, because it seems like it has just helped me a lot. It seems like it's helped a lot of other people recover at a rate that they wouldn't before. And that's basically all I'm trying to say, is it's something that exists, and there shouldn't be a taboo against it. And even though it's not necessarily something that you would get like online and be like super safe or whatever, in terms of, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about this. I just want to say it's something that's out there, and for the guy who told me about it, thank you. But it's helped me feel like I can actually be on track to start, legitimately training again, which is something that I've been itching to do here, but I've just been immobilized over the past few weeks here. So anyway, just wanted to make that video for anybody who has never heard of it, or maybe has seen it, but don't, remember the name or don't know what it is or whatever. I just wanted to make that video. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I will keep you updated, and I'll talk to you soon.